All right, soldier, action.
Alrighty. Morning, everybody. I'm Cole, and today I'm going to be talking about the rotation overview I had for the summer with ContraVest. So first off, I want to thank everybody for having me on their team. Also, you allowed me to work with private information. I know the information I wasn't able to go outside of the office as well, working with Excel and big budgets as well. You gave me that responsibility. You allowed me to work with this, and you also trusted me in that aspect. One other thing I'm going to talk about today is through ContraVest, where I go to school, I go to the Citadel. I'll be a junior come in the fall. So what I was able to, I'm going to tell you about what I took from school and how I saw it also within the office and outside the office.
You can move that keyboard over if
Okay.
you need to. Yeah.
So transition, I had Air Force training for, 2 weeks in Alabama where it was nice and cool. I ended school in early May, and then I had less than 2 weeks to prepare for that. And then by the time I was finished with that, June 1st, I only had the weekend to prepare, pack, and move into my new place in Orlando. So it was a new city, new commute for me, meeting new people. I joined a running club downtown. Of course, at this one was about like 293, I think, in the air. But, we played golf, with John, and I got to see some friends that go to UCF as well. It was also my first 9-to-5 job, so I worked an internship in the spring, but it was more of an afternoon thing. So this was definitely new for me. Also the traffic, man, that was great. A lot of people love it. I'm sure I'm in there somewhere. But and then also I didn't know how to cook. I can make a really good bagel. I can also make cereal. It's really perfect right amount of milk. But first 2 weeks I was living off of chicken in a can. I didn't even know that was a thing. So it's actually not too bad. So it was really great learning experience for me. I was on my own. I did have a roommate, but people I've got to meet around here has been really fantastic. So I went through 4 rotations through ContraVest in this order. Development was mostly with Mariah and Alfie, and a lot of you also actually throughout the office. Pre-construction was with Ken. Property management was with Nelisa and her crew over at the Addison and Windermere, and construction with Tom and Tyree. So within development, mission statement: to maximize the economic value of our client's apartment joint venture investment through excellence in development, financing, construction, and property management. So within development, I was able to sit on weekly meetings, discuss current situations with upcoming projects that we've been looking at. Also, I think the first week I visited 2 sites. First was the St. Pete and also Universal. So we drive over to Tampa, check that out, and see what we're looking at from an aspect of, okay, what needs to go into place and what is going to happen beforehand when we start construction. Also got to work with Mariah on impact fees, assisting with costs for developing a property, what goes into that and such, contingency costs, trying to find what's the unknown, how much we're going to be spending here beforehand. Permits, also had to deal with all the permits. I didn't really know that beforehand coming into construction. It's a real pain trying to get everybody on board with the county and the governments and dealing with other counties too. For example, the St. Pete, I didn't know that that's a separate county, and you have to go talk with them also, and that's a whole other process. Meetings at sites. So when we went to Universal, we had met with the UBS owner, or one of the UBS representatives. I think it was with Margaret on that one. And with that, you were able to see, what really goes into the property. The big thing for me was looking at the grills. What type of color do we want? What does the owners want in aspects of, hey, I want to have the X amount of grills and they need this color. So you break it down to that much, which I really didn't know about that. So within contracts, I worked with your offer acceptance, got to be in writing, consideration, and intent. Also, within these contracts, I remember Alfie had given me this big packet. I didn't know what it was on the first day. I was like, oh man, this is fun. Read through it that night. It's pretty rough, but.
Was that a land contract or?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So that was pretty neat, seeing how you guys break it down, put it into an Excel. Hey, this date needs to be done by this, or this needs to be done by that. Your effective date, due diligence, name a few. Also, within those, what does the seller and the buyer have to do to each other? What needs to be agreed on? What money is also and really how much it happens if somebody doesn't pay a monthly rent. So how it affects, there's a whole chain. What happens here is going to take place and cause an issue further down the road. But last thing I took away from property management was everything to do with marketing. Since, like I said, first moment somebody walks in that door, you greet them. It's helping them out, branding, helping out the units, what needs to get done, community events, running out to people, visiting with residents, giving out surveys. All that stuff is really important because it's how you establish a relationship with your customers, your residents, and it's also how you get the word out. And like I said, that's a big thing with us at school is relationships. How am I going to set myself up for success if I don't know who I'm working with in the future? And that goes as well in the military. So my final rotation was construction. So our mission statement, to provide professional construction services to our clients through excellence in time of completion, meeting or beating this prescribed budget, building to the highest standards of quality in the industry, and adhering to the principle of safety first without exception. So here, Tom and Tyree helped me out with what was going on within the construction, things keeping me up to date on what was the issues. Big thing that I took away from this was the meeting with subs and their expectations for them. Mark, Steve, we had the meeting last week with all the subs, shoulder to shoulder, and I couldn't believe how many people actually go into all that. And they don't even work for ContraVest, really. They're just subcontractors. So that was huge. That really dawned on me, like, wow, there's a lot that goes into place here. Dewatering issue, the rain issue, those are constant. The rain issue, every single morning, there looked like there was a new pool right outside the trailer.
Lake Addison.
Yeah, right. The dewatering issue and how you have to test the water. I didn't even know that was a thing either. And how that set back also the timetable, several months or so. And you want to play catch up, you don't want to do too much though. And it's just little issues like that. But at school, you have a system in place where seniors are mostly overseeing what's going on. Juniors are more hands-on. Sophomores, they're also a little bit more hands-on. But with Tom and Tyree, they're kind of like your seniors. They oversee how the juniors or sophomores are doing, how they're treating freshman cadets also. And it's important because it allows for the juniors and the sophomores to stay on their toes. So, for example, subcontractors, window or framer is not finished, with all the frames. Okay, well then that means the window guy can't put in the windows. So there's this huge chain reaction because even though the subs don't really see each other a whole lot, they all need to know what's going on. Like with that big meeting with everybody needs to know what's going on because then who knows, the roofer maybe not be able to get on the roof. For example, we had a meeting, inspection guy came to check out the roof. He said, you need to re-roof this building. We're like, okay. So now you got to take everything off that roof, not start over, but set it back another week because then you got to redo the roof, obviously. So it's just being on top of each other with the subs. They would come in for weekly meetings. We have Monday morning meetings, just check in with everybody. And then again, it goes back to communication. It's really huge there, especially with the construction. Everyone needs to communicate, and I can tell with the subs, it's like, I'm just trying to do my thing. But then they bicker at each other because, hey, framer, you didn't get your windows done, or window, you didn't get your framer, you didn't get your framer guy out here. So it really is important to communicate with each other, especially on the construction site. So overall, a couple big things I took away. This is my favorite, 5 Ps. Proper planning prevents poor performance. This is big at school, as you may know. What happens here goes to what happens on the construction site. So if I'm off on a budget, or I'm having issues with my impact fees, or I'm misjudged by maybe a couple $1 million, that affects what happens out there, obviously. Also, talking to your subs, do we have everybody that's set and ready to go on this specific date? Also, Steve loves this, fast money equals fast friends. Goes back to relationships with everybody. Like I said, back at school, it's a big thing because it's who you're going to be working with throughout the school year. Also, here, what I noticed with the subs in that meeting last week was that they have worked with you before for a very long time. So they understand that, hey, ContraVest does a good job of what they do. We like working with them. Everyone's super nice. We want to continue that relationship, make investments in money off of what they do specifically. So like I said, it goes off of relationships, who you've been working with in the past.
If you're top heavy, it doesn't flow down.
Right.
And then you get a bump in the road, which creates turmoil and failure.
Right.
But same token, the guy at the bottom,
Mhm.
the sophomore, who's got very little leadership,
Mhm.
but if he sees it leaving the track, or if he's not communicating with the folks above him,
Right.
i.e. the next trade in line or trade that's left, they're not communicating the shortfalls or what expectations are.
Mhm. Absolutely.
It becomes a huge challenge that the leadership's got to go figure out.
Yes, sir.
The senior,
Mhm.
Tyree,
Mhm.
that it easily could have been avoided or overtaken by just somebody that opened
Right.
their mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
The one point I wanted to make, or just clarification, the software we're using in the field is called PlanGrid.
Okay.
It's very similar to, it's actually a competing software.
Oh, that's right.
Name.
Yes, sir.
It does a
Mhm.
lot of the same thing, but it's a good software as well.
Mhm.
And it does, we use that here in-house for estimating and takeoff and plan
Okay.
comments and communications. But the field, and I don't know why we got PlanGrid, but I guess it's just because we adopted it. Yeah, it came first. The management side, one comment that stood out to me that you made was that, hey, there's a lot that goes into this thing.
Yes.
Like running the community and
Right.
and running the asset,
Mhm.
and you're exactly right. And Nalisa out there has really got a big leadership role, but
Mhm.
the financial impact
Yeah.
is important. Did you get to get a lease? Did you?
I specifically didn't focus in on that. I know Brian was
Were
like,
you a
"Hey,
sparkler?
I sparkled a little bit. Brian was like, yeah, I got some leases and people wanted I gave tours to, and I'm like, what? I didn't do any of that stuff, but I did help her with a proposal that's actually being presented today. Not here, I don't think, but to the owners of the Windermere site. I worked on a proposal to, I guess I can say it, but we wanted to put a golf simulator upstairs where there's a space. So, yeah, I like it too. So I spent the whole day writing out this proposal for her, and she's going to present it today. So, keep my fingers crossed and keep in contact with her, and hopefully it goes well. But,
You mentioned
Where's that going to go?
I don't know.
there's a room upstairs. We did it. I spent it all day on it. If you go upstairs, storage room. That's nothing used for anything.
Is
You
it over the mail room? No, we did a two-story mail room there, didn't we?
Oh, I thought that was going to be a package locker.
No, we
Anyway.
keep the packages downstairs.
Right, well, we were going to go
And plus the packages should
So
be.
the solution to this is we can tell Kristen, they can call Matt Summers at Kaplan, because they do golf simulators in their properties. So they can tell you the don'ts and the do's.
Oh, really?
I mean, one has a bowling alley. I forget which property, and I didn't believe how much actually went into amenities. Like, that's all people care about, and it's just insane. And then I was like, well, we can do a golf simulator. She's like, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, okay, well, I'll start typing it up. And I poured my heart out for it, of course. So hopefully it goes well.
You had mentioned you'd had another intern experience. Kind of compare and contrast
Mhm.
the company cultures and
Sure.
just the feel from your perspective.
So I work with Push Digital. They're a marketing company that focuses on their representation of companies that hire them. For example, we had a project with SeaWorld. So SeaWorld has an issue with, hey, you're keeping these animals, are you even protecting them? So what we did is we actually started a campaign for SeaWorld to kind of get and enlighten what SeaWorld actually does. Mm-hmm. Another thing is that they had worked on Marco Rubio's campaign. So I had also helped with finding new clients through Excel. In terms of culture, it was connected to a brewery. So it's kind of like the owner of the Push Digital owns a brewery right there. And they actually just opened up a whole new office, absolutely huge, where everyone's there, super young. Worked with a grad school student, a couple CFC kids, and there was me. It's a different environment, so I was really interested. It was kind of hard leaving after lunch and going in my uniform there every time, sweating my butt off in there, but it's just more of an environment thing. It was more of like a younger sense culture, but and plus it was more marketing. Here it was like all the rotations, but it was really neat because like at property management, I'm like, wow, there's something so similar. When people walk in front of the door, you greet them, follow up with them. That was a big thing also. But I think it was just a different type of environment because they're a younger company. But it's also cool to see how they've continued their success in Charleston as well.
So Chris, as you know, we had 4 Citadel applicants,
Yes, sir.
and Cole was selected. What was it that stood out on Cole?